Hey guys, it's Tori here, and now I asked you on Twitter if you wanted to see me do a Q&A video, and apparently you did because you sent me your questions using the hashtag AskRFMTori. So today I picked a few of my favorites and I'm going to answer them. So let's get started. I've got my computer right here, so I'm just kind of scrolling through as we go. One here from Rachel in Heaven asks, how did you get started interviewing bands? And this is such a frequently asked question. I get this all the time in my email, on Twitter, Facebook, you name it. So I'm going to answer it here once and for all. It's really not that interesting of a story, I guess, but I was around 13, 14-ish, and I had a MySpace page. We're going way back, and I used to post all the time on the bulletin boards just promoting whatever bands I liked, whatever music, and I started joining street teams and promo squads, and I just really wanted to spread the word about the music I was passionate about. So eventually I was like, okay, I need to get outside of my circle of friends and really build a platform just to be able to, do what I love. So originally my intention was to start a blog called Rock Forever Magazine, and eventually I was thinking about other ways that I could go about promoting the music I liked, and interviewing was one of those ways. And little did I realize a few years later that it would be the main focus of the website and honestly my career path. I'm going to college now to study journalism, and that's about it. I didn't have any experience going into it. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just learned as I went along and went for it. So that's it. Next question comes from Kels Bruner. I know you. You're my cousin's friend. Hey. She asks, what's your favorite alternative song? And now I get so confused with genres. I don't even know what fits into alternative anymore, but I know for sure one band that counts as alternative that I am just head over heels for is the 1975. I think everybody on the planet likes them right now, but one of my favorite bands, I'm really into their song Girls or The City. I know you just asked for one song, but there's two. And question from JMonster26 asking, where do you go to Warped Tour? Every year I've been going to different cities, I guess. I usually go to St. Petersburg and Orlando, Florida, but last year I also went to Dallas. So I'm not really sure what my plans are for this year yet, but I'll definitely be at the Orlando date. So if you see me there, you gotta come say hi. Cool. Carol Carrasco asks, what was your favorite part of Playlist Live and which YouTuber did you enjoy interviewing the most? In case any of you out there watching don't know, Playlist Live is just a 3-day YouTube convention here in Orlando. It's one of my favorite events out of the entire year. I love it. This year was especially crazy for me because I did a lot of interviews, so it's hard to pick one favorite moment, but if I had to pick, I'd pick the VIP party on Saturday because there was a guy in a giant dinosaur suit that went into the dance floor and just got everybody going. And it was so weird because I was in another room and I walk out and I just see a dinosaur dancing around. That doesn't happen every day. And I think the dinosaur was walking around the convention all weekend. So I don't know if any of you guys saw him. If you did, you got to comment and tell me what your experience was. And who did I enjoy interviewing the most? I hate picking favorites, but I was sort of on a mission the whole weekend to interview Dan and Phil because I know that's one that I got a lot of requests for that you guys wanted to see, and I personally love Dan and Phil too. So this year I finally got to interview them. I sort of chased them down all weekend. I was like, hey, so can we do the interview now? Can we do the interview now? Can we do it now? And finally they're like, okay, fine, we'll do the interview. I'm kidding. They were totally cool about it. But yeah, that was a favorite just because it was one I'd wanted for a long time and they were really cool. So Dan and Phil. And that interview isn't up yet. It'll be up in a few days, so you gotta subscribe to see it. And a question from Hate Vanessa asks, how did you get into rock/metal/alternative music? And this is sort of a personal story, I guess. In middle school and early high school, I used to get bullied quite a lot. I'm not asking for a pity party here, but I mean, it did happen. I was picked on quite a lot. And I was listening to a lot of Disney music at the time. I'm talking Jonas Brothers, Demi Lovato. I'm proud. It's okay. But at the time, I was going through a lot, and it just didn't make sense. I wasn't really relating to the music, and I wanted something that I could just connect with. And I was scrolling through iTunes, just looking around at the music, and I found Pierce the Veil. And Pierce the Veil, I just immediately fell in love with them. And I started looking through, how on iTunes they do the people who listen to this artist also listen to, and I found Verse Merge and Asking Alexandria and I Set to Kill, those kind of bands, and it just made so much sense for me because I could relate to it. And I think that's why I love this scene of music so much, because you could go to a concert of one of these bands and you just know that everyone there, even though we don't know each other, we all can connect to the same music and we all know just what they're talking about, and we all get it, you know? So I guess that's kind of it, just looking for something I could relate to, and this music did it for me. And Sammy_Hag asks, what's the funniest thing that has happened to you? And you know what? This just happened a few weeks ago at Playlist Live. I was walking out of the convention center, and the convention center is where pretty much everything happens. And I walk out, and this guy comes up to me. Okay, I have to reenact really quick. He's holding his hand. He's like, hey, do you have a napkin? And I was like, yeah. And I go to reach into my bag, and then he starts walking a little closer, and he takes his hand off, and there was a giant cockroach, like, walking around on his hand. And I have a fear of bugs. So this guy keeps walking towards me, and I just take off. I just start running and screaming, and he starts sort of chasing after me with this cockroach on his hand, and I'm like, oh my god, why doesn't he just throw the cockroach off? Like, why is it on his hand? And then after sprinting for a good 30 seconds, I look behind me. Turns out they were filming me for a prank video. And I was so embarrassed and mortified and just in such distress that it took me like a week to realize how funny it was, because I was going hysterical, and like the convention center was crowded, so everybody was staring at me, and it was awful then, but now looking back, it was really funny. And only in a YouTube convention can you be filmed for a prank video like that. And BYE Adrimel, I'm sorry, am I pronouncing that right? She asks, if you could be any character in a TV show, who would you be and why? And this was a serious question. I took a long time to think about this, and I've narrowed it down to Eliza Thornberry from The Wild Thornberrys. And I used to love that show when I was little. When I was little, I wanted to have braces like Eliza did. And then when I got the braces, I hated it and realized what a mistake it was. But I think it'd be really cool to be Eliza, because let's be honest, she could talk to animals. She traveled the world and hung out in jungles. Like, what's not to love? And now my BFF Jocelyn wants to know, what interview did you have the most fun during? And I know Jocelyn, we are friends, and I know she has an obsession with Dan and Phil, so if I didn't say that, she'd probably, jump from the computer screen and tackle me. So yes, Dan and Phil, like I said before, that was a really awesome interview. Yes. Also, I really loved interviewing Pierce the Veil because we had puppies in it, and honestly, any interview with puppies, you can't go wrong. But in all seriousness, it is very hard for me to choose favorites or ones that I had the most fun during, because I try to make every interview fun, and I don't interview people that I don't really love. So honestly, all of my interviews are fun. I know that's not the answer you want to hear, but Pierce the Veil definitely sticks out as one of my favorites, and Dan and Phil because Jocelyn said so. And XOAllie143, she asks, besides your rad interviewer job, what other jobs have you had before? And now, I haven't really had any major jobs other than this, because I started Rock River Magazine when I was 14, and it's just as much work as a full-time job. I'm the one running just about everything on this website, so it treats me, it's like a full-time job that I've had since I was 14. So I haven't really had time to do anything other than Rock Forever in my school, but I can say that I had a lemonade stand for a day once, and it paid well. You'd be surprised how many adults would be willing to buy Minute Maid lemonade from a 4-year-old just because we're cute. So I think that counts as a job. And last question here is from Why Bad One. That's an interesting username. How do I pronounce that? Asks, how do you pick questions to ask the person you're interviewing? And honestly, I just do my research. I think a lot of the time, and this is serious now, I do not interview somebody that I do not fully support or really like what they do. So right off the bat, I'll probably know something about who I'm interviewing, but I like to do a lot of research. I watch other interviews, just get to know who I'm interviewing, because I'm not the kind of person that I want to be asking general questions, because that's so boring and they get asked the same thing over and over. So I just do my research, find things that I think are interesting, and ask about it. That's it. All right, well, that'll do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you want to see more Q&A videos, comment and let me know. And if you want to send me your questions, use the hashtag AskRFMTori on Twitter, and I'll be sure to check it once in a while for all of your questions. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe so you can see more videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye.